Hi, my name is Kate Kirkwood. I'm known as one of the experts in the state of New Hampshire on childhood lead poisoning and lead paint prevention. I actually have written a couple of books. I do a lot of speaking around the country about lead. And I'm here to talk to you today if you're a landlord in the state of New Hampshire. All right, that's the audience I want to talk to today. And the reason is because the world in New Hampshire has just changed with regard to lead. And your liability has just significantly increased in 2018, the year that we are in right now. A new law was passed. It's called Senate Bill 247. I live in New Hampshire. I've been very aware and following this for a long time now. And I just want to have something short and easy for landlords to take a look at, to share, to spread around, to let people know what's going on. Forgive my cats in the background. I've been trying, but they will not leave me alone. I've been traveling a lot talking about this lead situation all over the country the last month, and I just came home and they're happy I'm home and they won't stop bothering me. Anyway, here's the situation. The way that you get in trouble as a landlord is that a kid gets poisoned in your unit, right? Now, you might think, a lot of landlords think, oh, these kids are eating the paint. You know, they're chewing on the windowsills, they're peeling the paint off the wall and eating it. Having worked in lead for many years now, I can tell you that's not the case. 90% of the time, maybe higher levels, higher numbers even, they do not eat the paint. What happens is when that paint breaks down, windows are opened and closed, friction happens between the sash and that jamb area, a little bit of dust collects in the windowsill, the window well blows out into the room, or you have it on a door, they open and close the door, little bits of dust gets tracked around the house. The dust I'm talking about is literally too small to see. So when you pick up that dust on your hand as a child, you're crawling through the carpet, it's on your hands, you don't even know, they stick their hands in their mouths, they eat it. Or they breathe it because it can be airborne, it's tiny, really tiny. So even if your tenant cleans regularly, which I know a lot of them don't, but even if your tenants did, chances are good they're not cleaning this up effectively because they use sponges and they just spread it around the counters, you know, or they use a cheap vacuum that does not have a filter fine enough to filter out this lead dust. So it just blows it back out into the room. That even if they're trying, even if their house looks really neat and clean, their children can get poisoned from this dust, this invisible dust that's there in the units. And in fairness, even if your unit doesn't have old paint, it's possible for them to bring it in from other places that they go. So all you can do is do your best to keep your unit totally intact, and I'll tell you why and what that means. When that child goes to the doctor, they have a blood test, maybe just because, you know, the doctor was on top of it and they're 2 years old and they think they should have a lead test, or maybe because they mentioned that they live in an older home. Either way, if they get a blood test and their lead level is a certain number, then action is taken at the state. All the lead blood tests are reported to the state in Concord, Department of Health and Human Services at Hazen Drive. So if they get a blood test, it gets reported to the state. If the level is between 5 and 10, right now as I'm recording this, it's June of 2018. If the level gets between 5 and 10, you're going to find a warning letter. Okay, so when you get that letter from the state, please don't ignore it. That is a huge warning sign. It will say we're not taking any action, we're just notifying you, and so there's a great tendency to say, oh, phew, dodged a bullet and throw it away. But if that child's still living in that unit, chances are good their level's going to continue to rise, and the next letter you get will not be so nice. So if you get a letter saying the child is between 5 and 10, get in there and paint everything. Just seal it up with latex paint. Just make it intact. Get a good quality HEPA vac. Send your maintenance crew in there to vacuum the unit and explain to the parents about washing with disposable rags that they throw away, or have your cleaning crew do a cleaning. It would be worth your time, honestly. You'll see in a minute. And so get the paint sealed and get the unit cleaned. And that is the best you can do and will very likely either stop that child's level from rising or perhaps even cause it to go down. If you can educate the parents a little bit, even better. You can do a little research on this. This video is not going to try to cover everything. All right, next step is if the child's level is higher, over 10, then you're going to get a notice from the state that says they're going to come see you. Probably be a phone call. And someone will come out from the compliance department with an x-ray gun. They'll go into the unit where the child lives, and you'll be there, and they'll shoot a couple of things, just spot checking. They'll shoot, the oldest, most deteriorated looking paint. And if it looks like lead, I mean, if on the x-ray gun they get a reading that says it's lead, that's step number 1. Step number 2 is if that lead paint is deteriorated, or if they can find any lead paint anywhere in the house that's deteriorated, inside or outside, then your house will be put under order. Once your house is put under order, you have a 90-day window to create a plan. You're going to have to hire a full risk assessment because they're just doing a spot check. So you're going to have to hire a risk assessor to come in and do a full check, dust, soils, all kinds of things. And also you're going to have to do full abatement. Now, I can tell you, I've held a risk assessment license in the past, and I can tell you that those folks will charge you something in the neighborhood of $1,500 per unit. Not all at once. You might pay $400 or $500 for the initial inspection, but they have to come back as work is being done and check that it's been done correctly. They have to come back at the end, and if you are under order, they have to do a full set of dust wipes and soil samples and that sort of thing, and they'll charge you for those lab fees as well. So by the end, you'll pay about $1,500 per unit just for the inspection. Then you also have to abate the lead. HUD says on average, lead abatement will cost you about $10,000 a unit. It's an average. You'll have to look and see, in terms of your unit, how much lead there is to know whether you'll be above or below that average. And your lead report from the risk assessor will tell you that. Also, if your house is built before 1940, just to give you an idea, 9 out of 10 of them have lead paint. So it depends on the year of construction, how likely you are to have it. If it was built before 78, but like not newer than 1960, maybe 1 in 4. But by the time you get past 1940, 9 out of 10. So you can figure this out. And you can do the math. How many units do you have? If it were $10,000 a unit, $1,500 per inspection, and that doesn't include the outside, what would it look like to abate your 3-family, 6-family, whatever it is you have? So if they come into the unit because a child was poisoned and now they are in your unit, they can also go to any other units in your building that have children under 6 or pregnant women. So you don't know how many units will be put under order until they come and do their investigation. I can also tell you, once you are under order, everything changes. Your cost for inspections is more, your cost for contractors is more, you'll have more inspectors coming through the unit, you'll have more stress, and you'll spend a lot more money. And you'll be doing it in a tight timetable because the state's going to keep on you. You have a 90-day window. You have to request more time if you need it. And maybe you'll get another 90 days. But at some point, very soon, you're going to have to do this work. So Senate Bill 247 changed everything for you for this reason. In New Hampshire, we've done a terrible job at testing our kids. Some people say, I've had old buildings. I've been a landlord with old buildings for, decades. I've never had any trouble. That's because we only tested 15, 16% of our kids, which as a parent is appalling to me. But for a landlord, it might mean you escaped a bullet all these years because the kids in your units just didn't happen to fall in that 16%, right? The new law, which took effect in January of this year, now says that pediatricians must test every kid at age 1 and age 2. So at the regular 1-year and 2-year checkups, when these kids come in, on the list of things that the pediatrician's supposed to do with immunizations and everything else is test for lead. Unless a parent objects in writing, this is going to happen. Now imagine in New Hampshire, say we have, it's about 120 properties under order right now, when we've only been testing 15% of the kids. Imagine how many properties are going to go under order when we test 100% in the next year or two. Your risk of getting caught, if you will, with hazards in your apartment just went way up. And the likelihood that you're going to have to abate went way up. Look, you can avoid this. You can get ahead of this. You need to just get in. 2 things. You need to get into your units and make sure all the paint is intact. Abate when you can. Change out old windows when you can. But do it now while you're not under order, and you can do it on your own terms. Your maintenance folks can do it. You can do it with much less cost and much less stress and protect the kids and protect yourself from not getting, put under order. Once you get put under order, It's much more difficult and much more expensive. So first, get in there and make the paint intact. Secondly, get a good HEPA vac and make sure that your maintenance folks know how to use it. Your maintenance people, if you're doing any work, if they're doing anything in houses built before 1978, they need a one-day class called RRP, Renovate, Repair, and Paint. That's a federal rule. If EPA catches you disturbing any paint when you don't have that certification, the fines are up to $37,500 per violation. So that's another big liability you have. But it's an easy fix. Send your maintenance people to an RRP class. We offer them at my place, but lots of other people offer them too. RRP, Renovate, Repair, and Paint. I'll give you my contact information at the end. And if you're not in New Hampshire or not near me, I can tell you where to go to get a class. Costs about $200. It's a one-day class. And then they're certified for 5 years. So do that. And also get a good quality HEPA vac for them to use. It has to be stamped with an EPA approval on the outside. So you have to know on the box. So you have to know that it's got the right filter. It's 99.97% effective at 0.3 microns. Anyway, you don't need those details today. Call me for more information. I want to help. My company, Led EDU, will do training and I can do some consulting. Also, one more thing. There's grant money in the state. There's money to help you abate if you qualify. It's not a very difficult form to fill out either. So I will help you with that. Please give me a call or shoot me an email. I can help you, I can direct you toward the grant money as well, all right? So Kate at kkirkwood.com, that's Kate at KKIRKWOOD.com, or 603-781-4304, 603-781-4304. Thanks.